This is the Wolfeboro Planning Board meeting for Tuesday, August 6th. The roll call of the members present. To my left, I have Peter Goodwin, Roger Murray, Steve Webster, Kathy Barnard, Brad Harriman, Vaughn Dugan, and alternate Julie Jacobs. The first item on the agenda is discussion of the conservation subdivision that we've been discussing for the past several meetings. It's been amended as we had described in previous meetings, and hopefully this will be our last go-through before it's presented for public hearing.
Public meeting.
For public meeting, excuse me, yes. So I'm hoping everybody's had a chance to read it. Does anybody have any comments on the latest draft?
I have a couple of very minor typos, but I'd first like to say I appreciate the fact that they have page numbers, and I also appreciate the fact that the revision date is listed on the bottom of each page. On page 3, under section 151C, I believe there should be a comma after 151 and a period after K. And the same would apply in section...
Roger, could you repeat that? You're 151, 175, 151C, is that right?
Yeah, and it should be 175, 151, comma, K period.
Thank you.
And then the same change should be made in E down below. And then the very last line on that page, the L in land should be capitalized.
So I'm just wondering about your 175, 151, comma, K period. How do you start with a small letter R as provided?
What was that?
Your first one, C.
Yeah.
Under 175-151, you want comma, K period, and then R capital? That doesn't make sense.
No, I don't want an R capital.
So why is there a period after K?
Because there are periods after each section in the ordinance.
Oh, confusing.
I'm sorry, Roger, could you repeat that?
The sections are all listed as, and well, K is listed as K period. And all of the sections are listed, the letter sections are all listed with a period after them.
I'm concerned that might make it confusing to read as a sentence.
Right.
It shouldn't be.
And wouldn't it, why is it comma, K?
Because it's the section that follows, because that's the way you list these things.
So
Is the
E, it
short
should be the
answer.
same?
Instead of a comma, shouldn't it be a period? If it's 175-151 period?
No, it should be one, well, you can make that argument, I guess. I think normally these are listed when you go through sections as having a comma where there is another subsection being designated, like when you do the statutes.
Well,
No, there
we want to
shouldn't
be
be a
consistent.
dash.
So if you look under I, 2, you see 175-32B period. That looks more readable and sensible to me.
No, I think it should be 175-32, comma.
Of course you do.
But I don't really think it's worth wasting any more time discussing it.
But it should be consistent no matter what is decided. because it changes every time we have a new sentence.
Maybe we should ask what the proper way is. Someone not on the board?
Why would we ask someone not on the board?
Do you have more corrections, or is that it?
No, under I on page 4, the L in land should be capitalized. And on page 5, that should simply be 175, 152, period. And the one period should be deleted.
I'm looking through the E-code app and at the headings where, so in the section that you're talking about, Roger, 175-151, what I see online does not have a period between the numbers and the heading developmental requirements. So I expect that for all of them, there should not be a period after the number for the chapter heading.
Now, what were you looking at?
I'm on the E-code 360 website, which shows how it's written in the published code. And there's no period between, for example, 175-151, there should be no period after that and before developmental requirements.
You're talking about on page,
I'm in the middle of page 3.
all right.
So that kind of means, Doug, that they all have to be changed?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So that'll carry through the entire document. Yes, that's right.
Okay, so no period after any of them, is that what you're saying?
That's right.
Okay.
After any of the chapter headings.
All right.
I wasn't able to easily find an example of the inline punctuation that Roger's referring to. Certainly, I think it should be consistent with the rest of the document, or rest of the code, rather. Other than punctuation, were there any other changes or comments from anybody?
No, I went through the minutes, and it looks like all of the issues that we talked about at the last meeting are in this particular document. And it seems to me that we've reviewed this a number of times, and it's time to set a public meeting so that the public has a chance to comment on the document.
All right, do we want to try to do that the first meeting in September?
Yes, I think that would be good.
All right.
And this will be an informational hearing?
That's correct. So that would be, if I get my calendar out. That would be September 3rd. Thanks, Brad.
So I move that we bring it to public hearing, the Conservation Subdivision, Article 24, on September 3rd.
Okay, we're talking about a public meeting.
As opposed
Not
to
a
public
meeting,
hearing.
Meeting, okay, I changed my words, to public meeting.
Okay, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the dwelling unit definition, which was all in your packets, I hope. This was reviewed by Kathy, Roger, and I, and it's up for discussion. It includes, and for any members of the public, these documents are on the table here to my right, if you'd like to refer to them. So at the top of the page, there are the current Wolfeboro 175, 175 definitions. Below that is the City of Portsmouth definitions, and then below that are the proposed definitions.
So I have a general question.
Sure.
Why do we want the two units to be similar? What is the usefulness of that in
Well,
size?
I'm not sure that there is, and I'm also not sure that we need the word duplex either.
Right.
I want to cut
So
right
just
in
be-
here and just say we have one or multi. One or more than one.
Well, so that's a change because some of the zones have duplex language in it, but a duplex doesn't have to be same size. It could be just two dwelling units. I mean, to me, that's an unfortunate repetition of some really bad architecture.
Although if we do remove that, that language, we have to then figure out how we're going to distinguish between a duplex or a two-dwelling unit of similar size and an ADU and a primary.
Well, so an ADU has specific size requirements. So that distinguishes it.
Okay.
And specific
Right, and they
door
have to own it.
requirements, whereas a duplex could have two doors on the front, for
Right.
instance,
And the ADU's owner occupied.
and not clearly subordinate to one, to the other. But they could have more character than being mirror images of each other stuck together, which is never a great look unless you are making factory housing.
The reason I included that in there was simply because that was where we ended up in our last discussion of duplexes.
I'm just questioning the need for, the ink blot repetition, along a center line, which is what I think of an old-fashioned duplex. I think we should allow some liberty in design, and hopefully it will look better.
Isn't the issue, though, that we have lots of regulations about the accessory dwelling units or attached dwelling units? And so therefore, is there a difference between an attached dwelling unit and a duplex?
Yes,
So there needs to be some differentiation there.
But we have it all in the ADU language. It tells you exactly what that is. A duplex could be more flexible.
Or
But it has-
not at all.
Well, we
Multifamily.
have multifamily now is 3 or more.
Why?
Because we have zoning on our books that has duplexes, basically by zone. For
Yeah.
instance, Center Street, parts of it.
Yeah, and certainly if we were to remove duplex from the definitions, it would require a lot of changes throughout the rest of the ordinances.
Right.
Right, or we could word it so that it would be, a duplex is now considered,
Any two dwellings together, but not
More than one.
necessarily an ADU.
yeah, more than one. And then we could lose like paragraphs of trying to pick out, is the square footage correct?
Yeah, in the
what makes
proposed
it
definition
special?
here, you could just remove the words of similar proportions.
Right.
I don't know if anybody feels strongly one way or the other.
I do.
Okay?
We went round and round that one night about how do you get proportions correct. There's so many different kinds of proportions, and none of it was pinned down, so it's always going to be a fight.
Yeah, and I
For no
know that
reason.
in the past, it's been hard to decide what similar means.
Yeah,
It's not a well-defined term.
we're twins.
And what's the benefit of having similar proportions? And, unless you're building it and you think that it's a genius idea, that's up to you. But if it's a better idea to have two buildings that are separate dwellings side by side that look different, I think the buying public might be more encouraged, and possibly the building public.
Any further comment from anybody? All right, so I would suggest that we remove the 3 words of similar proportions from the duplex dwelling definition. And then I expect we'd have to have a public meeting to propose these and have it put into a warrant article for the revised definitions. Is that right?
Yep.
Right.
yeah, it will need to be the required public hearing.
Yes.
And I think if we're going to delete the similar proportions, you or Vaughn or somebody should make a motion.
Well, so I'll make a motion that we have a public hearing
Meeting.
on a public meeting, excuse me, thank you, Kathy. We'll have a public meeting again on September 3rd to present the definitions as we've just discussed and presented here with the removal of similar proportions.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right,
Was that to remove the similar proportions were verbiage?
correct. All right. The next item is TRC update.
Oh,
Kathy, can you speak to
TRC.
that?
Yes, we have a meeting tomorrow. There are two items. One is a subdivision on Hemlock Drive, 3 lots. And so this is the time when the applicant meets with all the department heads, and then will submit his application after that. And during that meeting, I will advise the applicant that they need to submit the complete application to the planning board first for their review, non-binding review. And the second one is a home occupation. That's just a non-binding discussion about a home occupation. So that's it.
Thank you, Kathy. The next item is a CIP update.
Yep, CIP, the book should be ready Thursday or Friday. We will notify the CIP members when they're ready. They will certainly be ready by Friday. Then the following Thursday is the first meeting of the CIP. Leanne gave you the schedule for all of the CIP meetings, and anyone that wants to come is certainly would be welcome. But Steve and I will be there. So it's the beginning of the process next Thursday.
Thanks to you both for volunteering to do that.
May I ask when and where those meetings are, so the public knows? The CIP meetings, when are they and where are they?
I believe it's all,
They're all in the Great Hall.
yeah, right, 9 a.m. And I think it's on the town website, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah. 9 a.m. Full schedule is on the town website. They're all at
Yes.
9 a.m. in the Great Hall.
The public can't see that, though, that's all.
So for people who couldn't hear Leanne, it's every Thursday, starting August 15th, for the next 7 weeks. 6 weeks? I believe it's 6 weeks. I see 6 meetings in the schedule here. August 15th, 22nd, 29th, September 5th, 12th, and 19th at 9 a.m. in the Great Hall.
And again, the agendas will be posted on the town website.
That's all for CIP. The next is approval of minutes. The first is the meeting minutes from July 2nd. There's amendment and reapproval. Does anybody have any further comments to it?
We're going to table those, is my understanding.
Yes, that's right. So we're going to table those until the next meeting, which would be the 3rd. Is that right? No, yes. No, I'm sorry. The next meeting is, I didn't memorize it. August 20th, thank you. We'll table those till August 20th, the July 2nd minutes. And we can move forward with the 16th minutes, I believe. Does anybody have any edits to the July 16th minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve them.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the draft minutes from July 16th are approved. Then we have, the board members here have received the minutes from the non-public session from July 16th. Are there any changes to that anybody would like to propose? If none, can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Seconded.
Motion's been made by Kathy, seconded by
Okay,
Vaughn.
and we need a roll call.
We need a roll call vote.
Okay.
So, Peter?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes,
Steve?
Yes.
I vote yes. Kathy?
Yes,
Brad?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, that's passed. I'll then make a motion to seal those minutes.
okay, and I'll second that.
And another roll call vote. Peter?
Yes.
Roger?
yes,
Steve?
Yes.
I vote yes. Kathy?
Yes,
Brad?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Yes.
All right, that's passed. Thank you. And then the last item on the agenda is public comment. Would any member of the public like to speak? Please come up to the microphone. Make sure it's turned on.
Yeah, my name's Jeff Hebert, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the town in their, they're very adamant about, I guess, no food trucks in town. I don't know whether you all are the right people to be talking to, or who I'm supposed to be.
Well, I would say that you need to talk to code enforcement in the
Yeah.
planning office. I know that each zone in town, you can look up online, that has permitted uses in each section. And some sections have it and some don't.
And the property that we were located at, private property, is in C1 zoning, which is food, and it's zoned for basically everything. So, I mean, we've never been complained about, as far as we know. Nobody's shown us a written complaint that should be shown, I would think, other than Jason of the zoning board driving by and seeing that we're there. I know he had an issue and a complaint about Jordy down at Sennell's, but we never got one, and yet now this year, after all last year being there, this year we're handed a cease and desist, Nick was, and it just doesn't make sense, like,
is this the truck at Putter Village?
yes, sir.
I think, but I'm not absolutely positive, that the issue is that it is parked in one of the spaces that were approved for parking.
No, we're not.
You're not parked in a parking space?
No, sir.
Then I think you should address that.
Yeah, I got the paperwork for an appeal through the zoning board, and I mean, hopefully that goes okay. We're definitely gonna appeal that, but it seems like they kind of handed out the cease and desist at an opportune time to waste the rest of our summer, which I'm not gonna say anything like it's, bad, but they saw us that we were there for roughly almost 2 months until we got the cease and desist order. And then we get it, and we just shut down, okay, yep, we'll go through the proper channel, but now we can't get anything done as far as the zoning board till September 19th.
Well, if it's not, if the reason given is it's in a parking space, I would go look at the site plan for the Putter Village and see what is there.
Yep.
And then you may, if the problem is not because you're in a parking space, then they can let you know. But if it is because someone thinks you're in a parking space, or it somehow violates or is contrary to the site plan review for Putter Village,
Yep.
then I would investigate that further.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah,
I don't know the answer to
I
that, but
appreciate it.
And the site plan for Putter's Village is in the planning department if you want to look it up.
Hi, I'm sorry. My name is Alicia Laganis. I'm one of the owners of Putter's Village. And I think what Jeff's trying to say is we are a private lot. The food truck was parked in it's not a parking spot. We made sure of that. They are on the grass. I think what our issue is that we received a letter saying that the food truck was not allowed to be there because food trucks are not allowed in Wolfeboro. That's what our letter distinctly says. I know there are a couple other businesses that have food trucks, and I think that's great. What we're just trying to get to the bottom of is why we're not allowed to. It's inconsistent. And it's just a little frustrating. We have asked questions, we have talked to people in charge, and we're just kind of given a runaround. And at this point, we just want to see the owner of this food truck succeed. We're not profiting off of her being there. These are friends. We're allowing them to be in our private lot. And we're just kind of we've been given a hard time about it. So we're really just looking for answers as to why. I guess that's our big thing.
And have you spoken with anybody from the town other than Jason? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. If you could come up to the microphone.
He's also spoken to the fire department, the police chief, and nobody can give us an answer as to why that food truck is not allowed. We're just told no. And we're just told that Wolfeboro won't allow it.
That's because it's not a permitted use in either the C1 district or any other district. And that's what the issue is. It's
Okay.
not listed as a use that would be allowed.
Okay.
Wouldn't that technically be to-go food?
Could you identify yourself?
Wouldn't that be technically to-go food?
This is Nicholas Leganis. He's the owner.
Thank you.
My husband. Yes, sorry.
I don't know the codes by heart well enough to answer that question.
Okay.
So aside from Jason, do you group have a recommendation as to who we can talk to get solid answers to this problem? Because like I said, there are other businesses, and I'm not trying to be that woman that's throwing people under the bus, but we seem to be the only business who's been given a cease and desist. And
So-
we're just curious as to why. There are active food trucks in town, but we can't seem to have one.
So my initial suggestion to you would be, you may be aware that our former town planner has left, and as sort of an interim step, we have a contract planner who's here Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay.
Her name is Shanna Saunders, and she might be able to better interpret the codes for you.
Okay, thank you.
And I'd be happy to help if I can.
Okay, thank you, yes, and
So-
we're not trying to be a pain in anyone's butt, we just,
You just
it's
want
just
an answer.
frustrating. We just want to know why, yeah, that's how she pays her bills. And she's not harming anybody, it's a private lot, so yes, just trying to stand up for the little.
Okay, you have filed the application with the zoning board?
He has the paperwork to do
Yeah,
so.
he was just given the paperwork, yep, so we filled it out, it'll be filed first thing tomorrow.
Okay, well, that's a good first step.
Okay.
And then, it's probably something that the planning board should talk about.
So what are we gonna, what is our, I guess for the planning board or zoning board, what are we trying to zone?
Well,
A mobile truck that leaves?
the zoning board would determine if they think that there's, I don't know what you're asking for. So if you're asking for a variance?
Well,
Yeah.
what am I asking for, I guess is the question.
We've
What-
been told a couple of different things, that a food truck, either it has to stay stationary, and then we were told that it has to leave at the end of every day, and then we were told, we've just been given different forms of information, so we were just, where can I look to read these bylaws?
Okay, well, I think that Doug gave you the best decision right now, and that's to talk to the interim planner.
Okay,
So, and I would say that all of Wolfeboro's codes can be found on the Wolfeboro Town webpage. If you go to the Planning and Development page on the website, there's a link to all of the codes. I'll tell you in advance that it can be a little bit of a maze to sort through, which is why I recommend that you talk to the planner on Tuesdays or Thursdays.
okay.
Yeah, I reviewed with my lawyer yesterday about it, and he's very confused by what this actually states in that section of that code which he's going to break down further for a future meeting or whatever it comes to. But just, it's very unclear even for a lawyer. So for your everyday person to read through it is just difficult, so.
Yeah.
If you stay until the end of the meeting, I'd be happy to share my contact information with you and help you out any way I can.
Be wonderful.
Perfect.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Anybody else?
Jump in here. I'm Paul DiGeronimo. I have a place over at the end of Endicott Street, 36 Endicott Street, Unit 1. And we're looking to have a renovation of our unit. And included on that is that, is there any way I can stand up the plans? That'd be a board.
You can pull the microphone out of the stand if you'd like.
I might start singing. We have one of the 8 residential units at the Kingswood Townhouse condominiums at the end of Endicott Street on Wolfeboro Bay. And these were built in 1980. I think people started moving into the project, into the condominiums. 8 residential units. And this is waterfront. There's about 60 docks out front and some parking for those docks out front. We have a unit that's on the end, and there is a boat ramp on the end. And under our unit, Unit 1, there's 2 small bathrooms for the use of the dock users, the dock slip users. And because it's under our living area, we are upgrading our unit. We want to be able to move create one bathroom, just a head and a sink, handicapped, to the end of this garage. And it would be 8.5 by 8.5, and I have architectural stamped drawings to do all this work. I came to City Hall, Town Hall, about 2 months ago, spoke to both the planner and the building inspector, and they did not suggest that I needed a site plan review. In talking to the building inspector this week, he says I need a site plan review to put on this 9 by 9 bathroom. And I'm looking for direction if I need it. We're not changing any parking spaces. We're not changing anything. We're not adding. And we will show on the plans setbacks, which it meets by far any building plans. And so I just have some confusion, and because there's no planning director now, if we need site plan approval or how we submit the plans.
Is your intent to build this within the existing footprint?
No, it will be an addition.
Okay.
It'd be an 8 by 8 addition at the end here. But we won't be, it'll be obviously we'll respect the setbacks, and we're not changing any parkings, and we're going from non-handicap bathrooms to handicap bathrooms.
All right, so I'll give you the same recommendation I gave previously, which is if you would come in to talk to the interim planning director Tuesdays or Thursdays between 1 and 5, or email at any time.
I'm just going to, the frustration is I did do that 2 months ago.
Yes.
It seems that things, there's no clear direction, and I have gone through the planning, the books, and it is vague, the ordinance, if it's needed or not, and that's why I came here, because I was hoping you'd tell me I
Yeah, but
don't need it.
as I said, the planning director that was here 2 months ago is no longer here. We have somebody new
Yeah.
who might give you better advice.
And the last thing is, I spent since Friday, yesterday and today, trying to make an arrangement for that, and I didn't get an email back.
So I'll give you the same responses that I'm happy to share my contact information with you and be an advocate for you to try
Thank
to get
you.
that information, that answer.
Great.
If it's a change in use, I believe you do need a change in use of the property. I believe you do need site review, and if this is a condominium, you're going to need to amend the condominium documents.
So we've already had that. That's, again, the frustration is that we've worked with all 8 property owners. They're on board. We're on the final draft. Both sides' attorneys have agreed to the language. We're ready to move forward. We have contractors coming in. We have stamped plans already in the planning department. we did what we thought was responsible, be here 2 months earlier, and now we have a good-sized project happening, and I don't know the flow of the site plan approval, but it's a timely.
If you're amending the condominium documents, you need to have planning board approval.
Okay, but is that a site plan approval?
It's a plan that's showing what you're doing.
Okay, fair enough, thank you. Thank you.
Would anybody else from the public like to speak? All right, hearing none.
Could we talk about the food truck sometime and, at a work session
Sure.
and see how we should proceed with that?
Any other business from the board?
I did not get what Kathy just said.
Kathy suggested that we have the topic of food trucks as one of our work sessions.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Kathy seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Thanks very much.
See, well, you get-